Okay, so today we'll cross to MIT, across the Atlantic to MIT. But first of all, I have to apologize for last time my PC ran out of electricity. So here is an example of phonology. The stress shift, electricity. I like what Omar used to say, structure. No, it's structuralism. So the shift of stress in English is one chapter in English phonology. Okay, so today I suggest $20 to anyone who will solve a puzzle, linguistic puzzle. So stay awake, don't sleep, because you don't know when the Lord of the house will come. Okay, so before we leave England and London, we have to mention the IPA. It's a very important transcription. It's universal. It's International Phonetic Alphabet. But now that we have crossed the Atlantic, we go to MIT. We'll speak about Hale and Halley. Well, first of all, MIT is the Massachusetts, this is an Indian name, the Massachusetts Institute of Technology. So if you are a student in Morocco, Nigeria, Pakistan, and can get 20 out of 20 in mathematics, you will go to MIT. So you're a genius. So MIT is like Harvard, the big universities in America. Well, there is a difference between Maurice Halley and Ken Hale. I met both of them, and especially Ken Hale, a very kind person. And actually I was attending one of his courses together with the Syrian Dr. Mazin Loire. And this Ken Hale is a genius. He knows those Indian languages like Navajo, Apache, etc. And once he was talking about relative clauses, and Mazin Loire very kindly said, maybe Mr. Ibn Rushd can help. Before I could speak Arabic, Ken Hale was saying, الرجل الذي أعرفه, etc. He knows even Arabic, amazing. Now, Ken Hale is a syntactician, whereas Maurice Halley is a phonologist. He's from Russian Jewish origin. He wrote the sound pattern of Russian, but he is also knowledgeable in Arabic. To prove it, it's Miss Joan Mailing who wrote about Arabic metrics under his supervision. Al-Arud, it's a very difficult subject, like mathematics. So Hale is American and Halley, both of them are great, clever people. Now, to talk about generative phonology, you have to talk about generative phonology and the combination. What is meant by generative? It's a mathematical term. It means that you use a finite set of elements, just like the numbers, the integers from 0 to 9, to generate all those 60,000 billion trillions, just like those sad trillions we have just heard about in the last few weeks. So generative is a mathematical machine generating infinite out of the finite set. And phonology is simply the study of the sound system of a given language. If I may give a metaphor, phonetics is the wheat flour, and phonology is the muffin, the stud muffin. Or another example or metaphor, phonetics is psychology. It deals with individuals, individual phonemes. And phonology is sociology. It deals with the relations that these sounds establish amongst themselves, the harmonies and the differences, the similarities. Now, what about generative phonology? Well, Chomsky and Halley, in their famous book, The Sound Pattern of English, tried to apply this mathematical approach, deductive approach, to describe the sounds of a language, say English or Arabic, but ultimately come up with the universal phonology, natural phonology, right? The phonology of languages differ because you have this golden rule in Arabic which says العرب لا تبتدئ بساكن ولا تنتهي بمتحرك. Right? Whereas in French or English you could do that, which is split. So you started with the consonant cluster, and you can say jolie. I am happy. Okay, happy, happy. Okay, so now generative phonology consists of a few chapters. I will limit them to just 3: distinctive features, underlying structures, and phonological processes. Features, underlying structures, and processes. What about the distinctive features? Well, the distinctive features, we spoke about voice. So you could say that any item, any phoneme will be either plus or minus voice. So this system is binary. It has plus and minus contrast between. We have also another distinctive feature called coronal. So a sound will be assigned either the feature plus coronal or minus coronal. What does coronal mean? It simply means the raising of the tip of the tongue. So like the D sound is plus coronal. The K sound is minus coronal. So these are a few examples of distinctive features. In fact, there is a matrix of these binary distinctive features. Now it is meant by underlying structure. If you remember that Hebrew example, gnib, so this is the underlying structure. And the surface structure is gnvu, they stole. Or remember, I will suggest an underlying structure in Arabic, which is ayu shay'in biki. All right? So this underlying structure. Now processes, what does in fact a transformational process mean? It means just like in the Windy City, you have beef factories. The cow enters from one door, goes out tinned beef in the other. So it's a system of input, output. So you start with something and you end up with something. Which processes or transformations do these people, Chomsky and Halle, suggest in the SPE? Well, they suggest transformations like assimilation, spirantization, and metathesis. Let me just limit myself to these. Assimilation. What is assimilation? That is دير بحال جارك ولا حول, etc. You have to be similar to your neighbor. So the example I can give, for instance, is human being. So this would be a little bit heavy. So people usually say human being. Why? The N and the B must become similar. So the B is bilabial and the N is nasal. So to be kind, please give us a bilabial nasal, which is M, to make things close. Now the, let's say, capital metropolis of Istanbul, the people say, in fact it should be Istanbul. So this is an example of assimilation. Now spirantization, again, the Hebrew example, gnib, gnvu. The B, which is a stop, has become a fricative, the V sound. Sibawayhi in his Al-Kitab gives a few examples, like he says, pirind. This is a Persian word for sword. But since Arabic has no P sound, when it borrowed this word from Farsi, it spirantized it. It made it a nef, so they say firind. Now remember my underlying structure of Arabic, ayu shay'in biki. Well, Sibawayh in his Al-Kitab mentions things like shbish, which means ayu shay'in biki. On page 199, he says something interesting. Please be patient. دباب الكاف التي هي علامة المضمر فأما ناس كثير من تميم وناس من أسد فإنهم يجعلون مكان الكاف المؤنث الشين وذلك أنهم أرادوا البيان في الوقف لأنها ساكنة. Remember that العرب لا تقف على الساكن. So if you say ما بك, it's ambiguous. We don't know whether it's a man or a woman. So to disambiguate, they say shbish. What's the matter with you, woman? Now I move very quickly to the last process, which is metathesis. Well, even Ginny, the famous student of Sibawayh, makes beautiful metatheses. So, for instance, you have alima, amila. In Moroccan Arabic, some people say, I'm not Amak, which means I'm not Amak. Now, I still remember, this is a funny anecdote, a French teacher who came to teach us French, sorry. It was quite nasty. This is why I'm forgetting. Well, let me just make some publicity for myself. While Chomsky and Halley wrote the Russian system of the sound system of Russian, the sound system of English, I wrote the sound system of classical Arabic. Beautiful book, isn't it? Now, the French came in and said, Je m'appelle Culoth, je viens de Toulouse, je viens vous faire la mathématique, et c'est fédérant. Oh, amazing. He meant c'est différent. So he made the metathesis. But there is a golden rule in linguistics which says the native speaker is always right. Now the money, the $20 I promised. If you can write very quickly the sentence, serve yourself, won't you? Serve yourself, won't you? Suppose you have a nice guest who wouldn't be offended if you ask him to serve himself to tea and muffins. You would say, serve yourself, won't you? Well, this sentence needs some transformations or whatever. So if you can deal with it using this grammar, you will get $20. And thank you very much indeed.